What's going on, guys? My name is Kev, and in this video you're gonna get the entire breakdown of the business model that I'm currently running that is scaling my AI agency to $100,000 a month. And we kind of found this idea by accident, and so we're considering this the new AI agency meta. And so to explain how we got here, over the past few months on this channel we've been building a whole bunch of different SaaS projects using different ideas and different AI models. And when it actually came to marketing these different projects, we started to build AI agents. And with the new model context protocol that was released by Anthropic, the thing that the world has been waiting for is actually here. The ability to build a team of specialized AI agents for literally any business in the entire world. And in my last video, we already built a fully autonomous LinkedIn outreach manager that scrapes leads, creates connection requests, and sends personalized messages 24/7, 365. And it's already crushing results for my personal brand, for my clients, and for the community, the No Code Academy, which is where I give all of my agents code bases and automations away. And that one agent that we built in the last video is just one node of a much bigger scheme of an entire roster of AI agents that would be specialized for my own businesses and specialized for any one of my clients. And to get to that point, I'm making this video so you guys get a full understanding of how this entire operating system actually works. Because we've built SaaS and we've built agents, but this is a mixture of both, where our clients use a SaaS type of interface to actually see the results of our agents, but we have multiple specialized agents actually performing all of these in-depth tasks. This is like a productized AI system, and it's an absolute honor to break this down. My goal in this video is to have you guys coming back to this and referring to this when you're building out your own AI agent employee teams, so that you understand what the step-by-step process is, how the flow should look like, and by the end of your build, how to know when you're ready to start selling this thing. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break down what an MCP is, why is it important for an autonomous agent stack, and we're gonna give you that full explanation. We're also gonna give you an AI agent stack example for a virtual company that we're going to break down today. And then we're going to break down how to actually build individual AI agents for a stack in a business and how to incorporate that into the overall ecosystem. And then I'm going to give you the visual breakdown so you can visually understand that if that's a way that you like to learn. And the cherry on top, guys, is we've also identified the best selling method that we've been running for our own agency. And that is the one AI agent upfront method, which we'll go into a little bit further down the road. And so yeah, guys, smash the like button, subscribe if you do want to actually build your AI agency and grow at a faster rate. Definitely join the No Code Academy. It's linked down below. $60 a month is a steal for something like this. Now, let's move on. First off, guys, what is a model context protocol server? I'm going to try to explain this in the best way possible by giving you a cool analogy, which is the USB-C cable that was just basically taken over all of technology that we use in our day-to-day lives to charge and transfer data. And this allows us to charge our iPhones and our Androids and our computers all in the same way and transfer data in a very uniform manner. This allows us to obviously not have to carry that many cables, and it also allows the operating systems to communicate and transfer data much easier. Now, this same case is happening with AI models, whereby using a model context protocol, we can send it data in ways that is very uniform for the agent to understand. A simple analogy here, guys, is instead of having to structure a JSON response perfectly so the database can perfectly understand it and be inserted, we can simply just send a text file response to the MCP server, and it'll fully understand that and potentially be able to restructure it and reuse it. Now, the other beautiful thing about the MCP server is that it has access to tools, APIs, and the database. So the agents now can have real-time context. And so this is very important for our conversational agents that are having full-on conversations with our clients and our hot leads. Like the LinkedIn agent that we built yesterday was a messaging outreach agent, but once that conversation gets initiated, we're going to have to then have another agent that actually handles that conversation, and that's going to happen within the MCP server so that it has context of the conversation. And that's where the database also comes in, where we can store the previous sessions with those conversations. And so in our use case, guys, we're going to have a operator agent within the model context protocol on Replit. And what this agent is going to be able to do is it's going to be able to ask and request the results from all the agents that are underneath it. And so one of the agents that are underneath it would be the LinkedIn agent. And the LinkedIn agent's goal is to create connections and create messages that get opened. And so those two KPIs is what's going to be sent back to the operator agent that is sitting in the MCP system. Now, the other cool thing is that there's MCP servers that are being built in so many different ways, and the database that we're going to be using for our project also has an MCP server. And so to finally finish off the understanding of the MCP server is that each agent can also have its own table in the database. And so the operator agent will have its own table where it stores all the KPIs, but the LinkedIn agent, for example, will also have its own table where it stores all of the other relevant information, like the emails and the profile URLs that we've sent the connection requests to, so we don't do that again. That's the gist of the MCP server though. If you have more questions, obviously you can hop into any of our community calls and we can give you a more in-depth breakdown, but there are some simple code commands that you can do in the shell on Cursor or in your agent's chat on Replit to actually install the MCP server, and that's all available in the Academy as well. Now let's talk about the visual breakdown of how this entire system works, and what we built yesterday in this stack will hopefully give you a better understanding. And so this use case, guys, is a AI agent employee stack for a gym, and the gym specifically needs to increase the number of memberships and personal training clients. And so what I showed you guys is essentially how the flow of agents will go from this gym to the front end interface on Replit. And so in the bottom hand here, we have an email agent, and this would, let's say, keep track of all the people that have ever signed up to the gym, bought water, bought Gatorade, bought snacks, and left an email in the transaction. We can put that into a lead list and have an agent send out an email to this newsletter every single day. That newsletter will just be running autonomously daily. You can either preload it with emails or have an agent run it with custom emails that it writes daily, and the information from the results will be sent back to the MCP server with a webhook. Now, these webhooks were built in our LinkedIn agent yesterday, and that exact same flow can work with every single one of these different agents. And so you can have a 24/7 desk agent so that you don't have to have one of your paid human employees sitting at the desk picking up calls. You can have a website chatbot. You can have a text message notification. You can have the LinkedIn agent that we already built. We have the Instagram agent that's on the way, Facebook agent that's on the way. And then I put the Shopify logo here, but it's basically like the accountant agent, so it can keep track of, the most popular products, maybe the most popular personal trainer, stuff like that. And all of this information is just going to be sent back to the MCP server, which also communicates with the database. Again, database has its own MCP server that can communicate with Replit. And so all of this is very seamless in terms of its communication. And all we're doing on the front end is we're showing the company that we're working with how things are actually going and how things actually look. And so each one of these webhooks could be set on a automatic time frame. So like, let's say you want to check the performance of the LinkedIn agent once a day. This would be a one-time a day automation schedule that checks the results, but the actual agent is already running. These are just kind of like the checkpoints, or like, imagine like your boss texting a worker, what are your results, and let me know what you're doing. That's kind of like what's going on there. Now, our agent in the MCP server at the final level can also send us a message of how things are going on, just in case we need to go in there and fix anything. Let's say the LinkedIn agent gets flagged and that account gets banned, or something happens with the phone agent and the customer's upset and we need to fix the prompting. We would have that operator agent let us know via a text message or email. Where this takes a whole new step up from all the other AI agents and all the other YouTubers that are showing you this is that they usually stop at the make or N8N level, where these automations or agents are all complete and they all do things, but they don't all consolidate on one simple client interface. And so one quick page that I want to show you guys is the Lynn's Bakery that we have already built out. So while this loading, when we're talking about 6, maybe even 7-figure deals with massive companies, they're going to want to see a level of personalization, a level of quality that the user interfaces on these automation platforms just don't give. And this is why something like Replit is the all-encompassing kind of end product for these clients to see. Even if we're running the agents on Make or N8N or any other automation tool, we want the user interface to be completely separate from that. And that allows them to really just see exactly what they need to see. And like I was saying in previous videos, these applications that we build for companies on Replit can do two things instead of just agents. It can, build the agents for them, but then we can also build internal tools. And these internal tools could be something like an internal Zoom software, so they don't have to pay for Zoom. An internal CRM software, so they don't have to pay for Go High Level. And this list literally goes on. And so as you build more trust with your clients, you can obviously add on top of them. And so what's gonna happen on this channel, guys, is a couple of things. I'm gonna have to make a video where I show you how to do every single one of these things in one go, where I show you how to build each individual agent and connect it all the way to one page and launch that page. But what we're also going to do is launch build outs of these individual agents so you can also start thinking about your own creative ideas. Because the wild thing about the boom that's happening in AI right now is that it's not just one vertical that's being disturbed, it's literally every industry in every single country in the world. And so you just need to think about how you can apply these to specific industries. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later at the end of this video as well, when I show you guys our sales method. And so yeah, let's move on to the actual verbal breakdown of how things work. And so the simple one sentence answer is how this AI agent employee team breakdown works is an AI automation tool with a AI no code tool with some APIs with the model context protocol with a database. So the automation tool could be like Make or N8N. The no code tool could be like Bolt, Replit, or Cursor. The APIs are what you use to make your workflows. And so like ChatGPT, Phantom Buster, Stripe, Zoom, any of these APIs. And the model context protocol is what we use to actually keep real-time information with our agents and have it actually conduct all of these different tool calls and function calls on our behalf so that we don't have to sit there and press all of those buttons. And that happens in two ways. That happens with event-driven automation. And so these event-driven automations are like getting that webhook back, right? And so these event-driven automations are like finding these analytic points from our agents that are running. But we also have side effect executions where when something happens, we then execute something else. And so that could be like launching a Phantom Buster automation. That could be like running out of leads, so we have to scrape more leads more leads for our Phantom Buster. That could be sending a DM on LinkedIn because we got a message. And so these could be used, like I said, for outreach agents, Instagram DM agents, email agents, Facebook messengers, follow-up agents, etc. And the way that we become the best, or the way that we become, the highest ticket in the AI agency, is literally just by absorbing the complexity so that the customer experience is just so unbelievably impressive. They don't see the pain of the build, and they don't even want to hear about the pain of the build. They want to see the results of the agent, and they want to see it in a nice way that makes them feel like they're working with a company like Apple. And so that's what we're building here with these nice UIs as well. This is probably the most simple way I can explain about how to build these separate agents, and that is to just get the separate workflows working first. And so when we go into make.com, it's an easy way for me to explain this in that, let's say I have an idea, right? So let's say, the idea was an autonomous LinkedIn agent. I started literally playing around with make.com's scenarios just to see what different tools are already out there. And that's when I stumbled across Phantom Buster, right? And so from Phantom Buster, I was like, okay, what else can we do? I say, oh, we can get the results of these agent runs as well. We can run multiple agents at the same time. We could download results. And then that started to help me see how that worked. And once I started to test out the flow, I saw that the outputted response, for example, wasn't clean. And so we added a ChatGPT model. And then by the end of the flow, for example, you get something like this, right? That has, a launch Phantom Buster that then goes to sleep, gets the results, downloads the results, puts it into chat then sends it into a URL or whatever, and then sends it to the Replit app. And so once you then, play around with these enough, you'll be able to start forming all of these different ideas of how things work. Like the Brock security agent, for example, was just off the idea that we found an AI model that can watch video cameras in real time. And so since I found out that an AI model can do that, then I realized that we can now build AI security cameras, and now we have an AI agent that literally can flag anything that it sees for any type of business. And so like, let's say you're a jewelry store, well, this Brock agent can now look for people like that are doing, I don't know, something sketchy or some shit. I don't know. I don't run a jewelry store, but I can imagine you want high level of security, and we can then fine tune this model to do that for them. But that's just off the backbone of just asking questions and seeing what workflows you need, and then just literally trying to build them with Make. And if you can build them with Make, then you can build them on literally any other platform. Think about the workflow, then find the tools, then build them individually, and then incorporate them to your project. Now, before we move forward, guys, I just want to explain really quick. If you're new here to the channel, if you're new to AI automations, AI no code, AI agents, I want to tell you how you can learn at light speed. And that's not just joining the No Code Academy, but that's joining the 30-day program where I show you from A to Z how to actually level up your understanding. Because what you're up against is a massive learning curve at the end of the day, where you have to learn not necessarily how things work, but you have to learn the terminology. You have to learn how to actually find debug errors and stuff like that. And the 30-day program that we built in the No Code Academy allows you to literally just start from scratch, make your errors, ask your questions in the community calls, and by the end of those 30 days, you should have a good enough understanding so that you can go ahead and build out this exact agency model that we're talking about today. If you're interested, the link's down below. So we showed you guys the visual flow of how things worked, but now I kind of want to talk about the database and a little bit deeper in how things work. Every single one of these agents, let's say with the 24/7 agent, the LinkedIn, accounting, email, and Instagram, they all need to store the relevant information, like I was saying, whether it's conversations, whether it's the KPIs themselves, or whether it's any other information that we need for the automation to run. For the LinkedIn outreach agent and the MCP operator agent, the connection between them is the KPI. So the only information that gets sent from one table to the operator agent would be the connection requests to connections accepted and the messages sent to messages accepted. And so when this thing's at full stack, the MCP operator agent table will have, let's say, 10 different KPIs that we can then show in one simple dashboard for our user. And the MCP operator will also be able to come up with its own justifications and analytics and insights on this information. And that's the power of the agent, is that we can also prompt it ourselves and be like, okay, what are your thoughts on this information, and how do you think we can make our business better, and which agents do you think we should be running more often, or we should make duplicates of, and stuff like that. Because another thing is that when you have an agent that's working, sometimes there's bottlenecks in their workflows. And so like the LinkedIn outreach agent has a bottleneck in the amount of people that you can send connection requests to before it gets flagged. But that just means you can build another LinkedIn account and run the same agent for the same offer. And so you can also scale these things horizontally if they're relevant. And so all of this to say, this is basically done in a relational database type of way, where the data is just inserted in the LinkedIn outreach agent. That row or that column in the table is also related to the MCP agent table. It just automatically appears in the operator agent table, and then it can use that to see all of the KPIs and all of that fun stuff. So guys, I want to talk about probably the most important thing in this video is that I'm here to help you learn, but a lot of people, they kind of have problems selling, right? And I want to explain the speed at which you need to sell, but then I want to also talk about the exact method that I think you should be doing and how I create the exact offer using this method. And so the selling technique itself is the most valuable agent method. And what that is essentially looking at any business model and finding out yourself, without asking them, what you think the best AI agent that you can offer them today would be. And so an example for me would have been that LinkedIn outreach agent that I built for myself, because it literally automates finding hot leads for my exact type of client. But like, I mainly post on YouTube, right? And so like, let's say I was going mega viral on Instagram, another agent that I would show an Instagram creator would be an Instagram outreach agent that doesn't just outreach to the people that follow him, but outreaches to the people that are liking and commenting on their pages, because those are also people that are actually warm leads, but they just didn't click the follow button, and they're probably never going to see your page again. And so if I can show an Instagram creator an agent that reaches out to 10,000 people that interact on their page every single day, obviously they're going to love that, and that would be the most valuable agent that I could possibly show them. Another one could be like a fitness creator that has a fitness offer, and maybe he's already, making some decent money with his fitness coaching, but he doesn't have an agent that like tracks the actual progression of his clients, like the genuine body mass index and their fat percentage and all that fun stuff. Well, the Whoop strap, for example, like the Whoop whoop strap that people wear on their wrists has an API, and you can turn that into an agent. And so your personal training clients will then get a message every single morning of their body stats every single day and how they're progressing. And so you show that to the personal training client as the first valuable agent, then they're gonna absolutely love you and pay a lot more in the future. And so thinking about all of these different most valuable agents for all of these different industries is how we're literally taking off. And this is how we found it by accident, because I just built the most valuable agent for myself because I built a software company first. I built Social Wolf, and we kind of stumbled across this offer, and now it's just absolutely crushing. Okay, so we're just spitballing ideas right now, but even for like a real estate company, this one's really outrageous. Like, imagine they have a listing for a $10 million home. Now you can make 10 different Facebook accounts that are AI agents that have APIs that connect to their messenger accounts. Now, anyone that reaches out to them interested in these houses could literally be talking to an AI agent the entire time until they meet the real person in real life. And so they could be booking all of these different appointments in these phantom accounts for any real estate company. The ideas are exploding, and so we just need to take advantage of this. And so the way that you take advantage of this is by not building out entire demos for people, but just by building out the most valuable agent for people that actually work. Like, these agents have to actually work, but you just have to build one, and then you should be able to go from there. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. And what's exciting is that, you know, like I said in this video, we've already built the LinkedIn agent, but we're going to now continue to build a full stack team. And then once the full stack team is built for the first business model, we're then going to do that for every business model that I can possibly think of. And so, like, you know, brick and mortar, gyms, community centers, restaurants, other software companies, other coaching companies, fitness teams, like sports teams, like literally events, like we can go on and on and on. We just have to keep our foot on the fucking pedal.